Subway and minimum wage jobs in general. I think it's really important. Get leadership skills, get social skills early in life. I think I saw the statistic the other day, some odd 80% of millionaires, something like that, all have like a minimum wage service job or food job or sales job, like at a shoe store or some kind of really like chill public working, and you're going to get that experience early in life. I think it's really important. And I'm going to tail in on my perspective. I worked at a Subway restaurant for a year, managed it after a couple months. It was a splendid, little group of people there, and the owners were great. Worked, I started as freshman coming out of high school, and we're doing it in the summer. I started training everything, getting it going. It was a little tough for my parents, but made it work. And once school started, they had me, opening, closing, training new employees, really going hard on that. So it was a good experience there. You really get a sense of independence and social thinking, right? So I didn't have a whole lot of social skills coming into high school, so it was a really valuable experience in the sense that all of a sudden you got to deal with a couple hundred people a day, and you're working with crew members or co-workers, right? So you come in and it's this whole group of people working together, and at the same time you've got all these customers coming in, so you're getting a lot of interesting perspectives. Excuse me. And it's everyone coming together to work towards a common goal. So first off, you build a lot of social skills just trying to talk to people, make conversation, small chat, right? Like if people are ordering a sandwich, they just want to stand there, right? So you learn how to really force yourself to talk to people, and I think that happens at any job, really. If you're at food service or something like that, it makes you open up, and how are we going to talk to people? How are you going to talk to a camera, right? Stuff like that. So once school started, started managing, whatever that means, right? I was still getting paid minimum wage, but it's really cool. I started training new employees, so new guys came on, and we'd work together, and it was a really great experience looking at how to effectively teach people how to do things, and learning, okay, maybe, going at certain educational perspectives and topics one way just isn't the best way to do it. So you learn how to first identify yourself with people, and then use that identity to grow and become part of their introspective life, so that you can really have an impact. Teach them this is how you chop the onions, but to a grander extent, it's about building relationships and growing together as you complete the task at hand. So if you're unloading a delivery or making a bunch of sandwiches, you can kind of extend those social skills, and I think that's why it's so important to have just kind of any real job early on, because you can take that experience and that social skill and expand it and use it in other aspects of your life, which has just been great. So a couple months go by, school's going on. Sophomore year, not a lot of homework, I guess. I don't really remember, it was a while ago. Junior year is probably the hardest, I gotta say. But who knows, right? It's just school. Wasn't doing cross country back then either. So after a couple months, start working alone, a couple times a week, or I don't know. I was working weekends and 2 or 3 days a week, something like that, or sometimes just be weekends. It just depends on the schedule with my parents and stuff. So you got first of all, really you got to focus on how you're gonna balance school and work, etc. You get the point, right? It really makes you prioritize your time and think, what's really got to happen in the next 3 weeks, the next 3 months. What do I need to focus on? And that's something it really makes you think about, is how am I going to spend my time here and there? And that's an extremely useful skill. And just instead of maybe focusing or thinking about how am I going to improve my time management, instead you just throw yourself at a job or something that really involves a time commitment, and you just make it work. I was never really thinking about what am I going to do, or how am I going to manage it. You just do it, and that's another thing you can get from something like that, an experience, an early working experience, is you just kind of get to a point where it's like, yeah, I work at XYZ, I have work that day, and you just go hard on it, and that's that. So instead of actually trying to make excuses or explaining yourself or escaping things, it just happens and you just make it work. So really forcing you to prioritize on what's probably more important. So really important stuff there, and you can apply that throughout your life in all aspects. So really good stuff for personal growth. And then towards the end of it, a lot of people were leaving, so they were short-staffed a lot. So I would usually, I'd work alone, I think I pulled a couple of Sundays. I usually worked a full day on Sunday just because the weekends were easiest to work, and I think the store owners, they were pretty religious, so they were at their religious meetings on Sunday. So I would work open to close, which is like 9. Yeah, probably about 9. No, 9 was the second shift start, so I would start at 7. That sounds about right. 7 to 8? 7 to 8. 7 to 8, yeah. So you had to get up, and I worked morning shifts a lot just because they didn't have a lot of people they'd give the keys to, and same with night shifts, but those were a little more chill because you had a lot more people working at night. I was always kind of a more morning person, so it was easy for me to do something like that. I would work like a 2-hour shift in the morning on Saturday or something, then get to work with school or whatever I had to do. So you'd come in, for 2 hours, you just make bread. There's basically no customers. And it's pretty cool, it's like an independent, you're the only one there, and you sort to realize that this Subway restaurant or wherever you're working, like, at least if you're working somewhere independent, it's like, if you weren't there, then this entire sector of an organization, right, as you expand your thinking, which just wouldn't exist. So it kind of makes you realize, oh, I can actually turn my thoughts into reality by bringing in, yourself, right? Like, I'm the person opening the store. The store is open and has bread because of, the people working there. And it makes you realize that you can accomplish things in the marketplace just by doing it. And all you really have to do is be there. And the value comes from that. So really great learning experience. And you can get that really from, I think, any minimum wage job, any service job. You're really going hard on it. And I think that's really important. Excuse me. So I'd work like Sundays. Usually if I was working with people, I'd take a day off from Subway, or not day off, lunch, and go grab lunch somewhere. Makes sense. They people who own the store, they didn't give us free food or anything like that. So went to Harris Teeter actually a lot. Got Harris Teeter sandwiches. Those are really good. But I think when I look back at it, like working, those Sunday shifts alone, it was really interesting because like I was the only person there all day pretty much, and it first makes you realize, how you have to really stand up for yourself in some situations, be it, sticking it to your manager, why am I the only person here, or at the same time stepping up in your own personal respect and saying, I'm going to make this happen, I'm the person here, this is it, I'm Subway, right, or wherever you're working. So you get a sense of, let's go hard on it. And I think that's why Subway specifically is a great first job, because you really do have that independence you don't get at a lot of other places, since sometimes when it's not as popular, you're like the only person there. So it's a real independent experience, and something I think is really valuable early in life, because you can really start to explore how you can actually be in the marketplace. And then you're building social skills at the same time, talking to people, especially when you're the only person there, you got no one to turn to. It's like you or no one, right? And then at the same time, you learn how to manage, if you've got like people out the door because you're the only guy there, you learn to manage that. You learn to manage people and be like, I'm sorry. Because I couldn't do returns, right? So someone wanted to return their sandwich. I had to call the store owner, and it was just a big process, right? So it also kind of makes you look at managerial positions in an organization and how you look at building trust with your employees and growing together. I think a lot of the management there was, I don't want to diss it, but it was really introspective, and you learn a lot about how you can manage your business or future ventures with employees or friends or however it goes in an effective way where you read I've read a lot more books about management since then, so it's been a long time, but you learn about some of the things maybe you don't want to happen, and you feel it firsthand as an employee. And I think that's really important in any job, because it's sort of like you're getting an idea and you could use that for future growth. Once I started, when I finally left Subway, it was like I just really want to get into stocks, and it just didn't make sense to be there anymore, considering it was just, but it was great overall experience. I never really spent, you make money, and it's like I saved all of it, and then, it's just investing, and I really wish I invested more while I was at Subway. I just didn't really have the education. It was just nothing out there. So when I did start doing that research on personal finance and investing, that was towards the end of it. And then we went really hard into that after I quit, and just went real hard into the stock market. So it all works out. Turned out well. I'm happy with it. And I really hope that as we start, as more kids, if you have a job, right, and you're young, and just look at the book if you want to make an investment in yourself. Really trying to build real savings and retirements, because it's just so great to be able to do that at a young age and have the time to have your wealth compound, so that you can really have that asset growth in the long term. And as you get a paycheck, X much goes into your IRA, or if you're lucky, maybe like 401k at that age. I'm not sure if you can get one, a Roth, something like that, where you've really got these amazing tax benefits. So you can really start to grow your wealth through compounding results. And this is all in the book. I would check it out 9 to noon. Appreciate it, guys. I'm really excited about it. I think it's a really great experience. I would highly recommend, if you're 15, 16, in high school, and you don't have work experience, just do it. Just do it. It's good. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.